Welcome to the IVM Podcast Network. Hi, this is Amit Doshi, and I wanted to thank each and every one of our listeners. It's been 2 years since I founded IVM, and it's been an amazing 2 years. We wanted to learn a little bit more about who is listening to our shows, and so we put together a short survey. The survey is anonymous, and we aren't going to be collecting any personal information. I would really appreciate it if you could take a couple of minutes out of your day and go to ivmpodcast.com/survey and fill it out. Thanks, and please keep listening.
Hello, my name is Siddhant.
Hi, I'm Dilnaz and welcome to X and Y.
Today we're going to talk about turn-ons, specifically sexual turn-ons.
Oh, I thought general turn-ons.
Yeah, I mean...
what's the fun in that?
There's fun in all kinds of turn-ons, clearly.
Yeah.
Our basic question today, however, is not just the kinds of turn-ons there are or, what kind of things turn people on in the bedroom. But why do you need to know about sexual turn-ons in particular? Why are they so important in the bedroom? So these are the two basic questions we're going to look to answer today. So let's just begin. Researching this topic was kind of tough because of just how general this sort of thing is.
It honestly was, as soon as I was researching, and today when I came and I told our group of girls, listen, I'm really boring, man. I've been researching and I have no personal story to tell this time. I'm a really boring person. It really made me feel, oh God, I have nothing. I'm not interesting enough to even talk about this topic.
But how does the research make you boring? I don't understand that aspect of this.
All the other research thingies, always identify with, no, first date, oh, I had this experience. Oh, PD, I had that experience, so I saw this experience. But this time I just had no experience. I feel I haven't discovered myself sexually.
Well, that's a big claim.
And that to say.
Yeah. No, now we know. Now we know. But, and this is important, that is the basis of this entire thing, I think. The act of turning somebody on in the bedroom is the basis for good sex and a healthy sexual relationship generally. I mean, if you think about it, there's no point if you're all happy and cheery in your daily lives, but then in the bedroom, things are just sort of procedural, mechanic and done. It doesn't work. It is not useful. It's not productive. It's not any of these things really. I'm sorry I'm using terms that can be interchangeable with a factory floor, but if you want a healthy sexual relationship, you gotta know your partner's turn-ons.
And you gotta be able to tell the partner your turn-ons, yeah? That's a big thing.
That is exactly where we should begin with this.
Discovering your own turn-on, accepting your own turn-on, and then having the guts to tell your partner that, bhai, this is my turn-on. Not bhai, but this is my turn-on.
It got a little weird again. Yeah,
This is my turn-on.
Note to everyone, do not refer to your partner as bhai. It doesn't work. It might kill the mood for various reasons. But actually, you raised the most important point here. And it's something we are going to constantly harp on about, and that is communication. I can't stress this enough. No one should have sex silently anyway. If you do that, that's lame, first of all, and we're judging you, even though we say we don't judge you.
We do.
About this we do, because you're missing the most important, fundamental part of this. It's an act between two people who need to discover each other, and for that to happen, you need to talk. You need to tell your partner what's happening, what's working, what's not working, and in that way, you start to realize, and more importantly, he or she starts to realize what turns you on.
Absolutely.
So you don't need to keep a little notebook about these things. Okay.
Can you imagine in the middle of sex, you remove just a minute? Let me get my diary out, my pen. Oh, this is what I liked. Oh, this.
Also, I have these 3 questions for you. Do you like this or a combination of both?
Okay, now we'll continue.
No, you can't do that, guys. Don't interrupt the flow or the mood or any of those things. But you do need to figure out what's going on. So how do you start, how do you do such a thing? Well, like we said, you talk. sex should never be something that you just do and get over with. So you should talk and you should figure out what your partner might like. Now, I get it. Sometimes you can't just keep asking, oh, do you like this? Do you like this? Do you like that? Here's the thing. You should actually try stuff sometimes. I'm not saying go crazy here, but you never know. It's been a while since you're having sex with somebody and you're comfortable with each other. Try something. You never know. They might like it. She might like it. He might like it. Whatever it is that you're doing, that person might like it.
I mean, discover it.
Discover
yourselves,
it.
yeah.
That's the second point. So you have the first part where you kind of talk to somebody and find out what they know they like and what you think will work. But now we get to the second part, which is so much more fun, discovery. So you have to try stuff to discover stuff. And it sounds very blasé, but this is when you are in a trusting relationship with somebody, and this is how you keep everything fresh or keep everything exciting in your sexual relationship.
Trust that, you know what, even if I try this, my partner will not judge me for it, accept it, that this works for me or this doesn't work for me. You know, that kind of trust to be like, oh, I've done this, now will he leave me or will she leave me or will she judge me or will she realize, oh, what a psycho she's with.
Yeah.
You know, those kind of, you know, the trust that, no, that person's going to accept me. If he or she doesn't like it, great, we won't do it again, you know.
Yeah, but you have to try it. And that's something you...
But as long as it's safe, as long as no one's physically harmed, because
Exactly.
sometimes kinks and turn-ons can go
escalate.
to another level.
Yeah. Well,
So-
you gotta be responsible. Let's put it that
as long
way.
as it's legal.
Well, yeah.
These days nothing seems
Not-
legal.
Nothing's
but,
legal, yeah.
You know, I was... it's really funny. I was reading Sigmund Freud's theories about these, you know,
Okay.
because it seems that he was the first person to actually have theories on all
Yeah,
this.
I mean, he's constantly mocked and derided for this
No,
in
but
his
it
lifetime.
seems like earlier
Yeah.
sex was repressed, and then
Yeah.
Freud came up with his theories thinking that there'll be liberation.
Yeah.
But they were so shocking that it got even more repressed as a thing to talk about, you know. And I quote Freud.
Yeah, wow.
It was
Look
said
at
that
you.
the thing that turn us on are at heart almost always solutions to things we fear and symbols of how we'd like things to be.
Okay.
Because his analysis always involved explanations pulled back from your deepest childhood memories. And that was, I think that, I mean, from what I read, you know, that was very scary for some people to think that, shit, this is what I am. You know, this is the reason I get turned on by this. And then how do you tell someone whom you love the odd, you know, things are sounding so odd to yourself, forget the other person, you know.
Yeah. I mean,
In fact,
this is a big personal thing you're sharing with somebody.
absolutely. So, like simple examples, okay, like uniform, right? The kink of uniforms.
Yeah.
So the anxiety.
So we're talking about people like having sex with people in
you know,
uniform.
yeah, people like nurses uniform, firemen,
Yeah,
police, and you know,
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah.
So it seems the anxiety is uniforms represent authority, right? So things that authority, so things that are forbidden, things that will make life dull, things that are repressed, you know, like forced to be tame. That is the anxiety, and the fantasy of it is that's why sex with uniform is liberating, because it means that you have power over the uniform.
Oh, yeah.
You
Yeah,
have
yeah, yeah.
power over the authority.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, the uniform stands for authority.
Okay.
So you want that uniform in your sexual
Fantasy. Yeah.
So it stands for authority, but then authority is on your side. Authority can actually be fun. Authority does not have power over you. So that's how the whole, according to Freud, that's how the whole uniform fantasy comes from.
Okay.
Then he gave an example of slavery.
That's a touchy topic anyway. Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Well, where are we going with this today, Dilnaz?
No, but he said, like, you know, as in our childhood, we've been taught to be independent, especially in today's society, you know, individualistic society, make your own choices, be responsible. We are taught to be brought up like that. And that's why slavery in a sexual fantasy is actually giving someone else the power to make decisions for you. You know,
Yeah.
going back to when you didn't have to take responsibility, you didn't have to make a choice, you just give in and submit and let the other person take responsibility. And of course, it is the person whom you trust, right?
Yeah, sure.
So that is
Let's
where...
hope it's that. Yeah.
So that is where the whole slavery fantasy came from. That's according
Okay.
to Freud. And again, dominance is completely opposite. We've always been taught to be polite.
Right.
Even if you don't like something that someone's doing.
This is another type of fantasy.
It's another the dominant fantasy. It's
Yeah,
like,
when
Siddharth,
someone-
I'm dying to tell you you're doing this all wrong, but I can't. I have to be polite to you.
You'll politely tell me I'm doing this all wrong. I don't.
So punishing other people, even though you think someone who's made a mistake requires harsh treatment, you can't do that in real life. So the fantasy of dominance is, in bed you actually can tell someone you're doing this wrong, do this. You can dominate the person and tell them what to and how to, and so that's where the dominance fantasy comes from. So for each of these fantasies, he had an explanation. For glasses, why do people find women in glasses attractive, or violence, that had another.
That's something that I found very interesting, because you see very often in all kinds of research and literature that both men and women do enjoy a degree of violence while having sex.
And that was very interestingly put. He said that as children, we hit each other and that's okay. Children fight, children give a tapli, this, that,
Yeah.
And as soon as you reach a particular age, you're taught that you can't do that any longer. Now it's considered violence. You can't hit a girl. Like when you can play with your sister when you're young, but after a certain age, no, you can't hit your sister. You can't do that. You can't do this. So violence in the fantasy takes you back to your childhood, where you are allowed to be violent and it's okay to be violent. So that's where the violent fantasy comes from.
I think it also is a lot more basic than that.
And no
in
one
some
would
ways.
really get harmed.
Yeah,
They know in a sexual fantasy that no one's like they have those trigger words or something.
They have the safety word.
Safety words,
Yeah. But I think it's even like stuff like pulling hair or sort of
it kind of takes you back
a
to your
love tap, as they say.
childhood.
A love tap.
Freud said that.
I'm pretty sure Freud love tapped a lot of people.
So I found that actually his explanations quite interesting.
Yeah,
And
I mean, I don't know how much of Freud's theories are still taken as canon today. I mean, it's probably not the forefront of research in sex and relationships, but you can see that the entire field sort of reverberates through this entire thing, through his theories rather. And what's important to note is that while he did come up with these things, they were like over 120 years ago. So don't take his word for it solely.
I'm not. But it was just an interesting...
It's an interesting way to look at it.
Way to look at things. And some of it does ring a bell. I mean, does hold true. I mean, like, when you really think about it, I was like, maybe,
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not the be-all and end-all, and this is the theory, and there's nothing else. And
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're just going to take a short break and come back with you with more about turn-ons.
Yes.
Well, hello there. I'm Naveen Narona. Do you ever think about what's it like growing up gay in India? What LGBT rights mean? What's happening to gay people around the world as we speak? Which diva inspired me to soar like an eagle? Well, it's time to get answers to all those questions, especially the diva one. Keeping It Queer will take a close look at the lives of ordinary LGBT heroes in India. People in the closet, people who tumbled out of it, and allies who support the movement in general. So come join me every Monday on a new episode of Keeping It Queer.
Welcome back. And we're still talking about turn-ons, the sexual kind. But hey, let's dial it back a bit actually. We are going to talk about the sexual turn-ons.
Yeah, but let's do a general turn-on also, right? I
Yeah.
mean, there could be a turn-on in a first date, a turn-on in the first time you meet someone with a group of friends.
Yeah, sure. That's important again. That's actually, it's more than important. It's very interesting because what we first do is that we see somebody and then we want to be with them and then we will eventually be with them and then the
sex with
relationship
them
grows.
later,
You'll have sex with them later.
At some point, hopefully.
Yeah, that's the end game. Okay, but what are those first few things that attract you to that person? They could be things that are maybe their physical appearance,
Smell,
the way they look, all of that stuff.
fame, money. I mean, shallow as they might sound, but they are. In
exactly. So that's actually it. So there's the physical aspect. There's values, such as person could be funny or attractive or rich or all of these things.
Just plain intelligent.
Plain intelligent.
Yeah.
Good old intelligent. That favorite attribute that everybody wants to have in their partner.
And even profession,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
some people really get attracted to doctors or actors or lawyer. One of those kind of
Yeah.
professions that one does.
The good ones.
The good ones, not like us.
Not podcast hosts, yeah.
Podcast hosts.
Lame. So you have all of these things that are those sort of social turn-ons, let's put it that way, or attractions that people have with each other. Now, my question is, you start with these attractions, but you move towards the sexual relationship. So you start out saying, oh, he's funny, he's handsome, he's very athletic, he has a lot of money, but that's all with his clothes on when it's bright. Now, what if it's dark, his clothes are off, and now we're supposed to have sex? How will this work? Will he be attracted to me then, or will I find him attractive? And more importantly, will he like all the things that I like?
Yeah.
So what happens when you know how you're attracted to somebody, well, in those attraction senses that we talked about, the social turn-ons, how do they translate into the sexual turn-ons?
And sometimes they might, it's really strange. Some certain things that might be a social turn-on could be a complete turn-off when it comes to a sexual thingy.
Yeah, of course.
Like a lot of women say, oh, I love sense of humor. Oh, he makes me laugh. I did the voice again,
A
sorry.
totally different woman just walked in here and said that into the mic, just pushed Dilnaz aside and said it. It was amazing. She's disappeared now. I have no idea where she went.
But as
Yeah.
a social turn-on, it might be great. He makes me laugh, sense of humor. But
Now
can you
you're in
imagine
bed.
having sex with him and you're like trying to be all sexy and hot and romantic or whatever, and he's like cracking some stupid joke? It can be a complete turn off. The same thing that was a turn on earlier.
Is a turn off now.
Yeah, and there's so many things. I mean, this was just like
But
an odd
you
example.
can't turn yourself off, right? We keep saying be
Oh, you
yourself,
can.
be who you are.
You can turn yourself off.
But you can turn yourself off?
I read while I was researching.
Okay.
I happened to chance upon this link, this chat on the internet.
Okay.
And one guy said something, how do I turn myself off? And different people were giving their opinions, think about your mother, think about having food with your sister, think about this, think about that.
Oh, you
I'm
mean...
not really,
but...
what are those chat
No,
rooms?
so you mean sexually?
Yeah,
No,
sexually.
what I mean is, now you're the funny
Well,
guy
no,
in
let
bed
me
with
complete
somebody.
my story now.
No,
It's
I-
ending. It's ending.
Okay, tell the story.
And then after all those, after all the advice that other people were giving, one guy is like, but why the hell do you want to turn yourself off, man?
Good
That-
point.
that was my story.
Good point.
But yeah.
I enjoyed it. But what I was asking was, you can't turn your personality off.
The charm that's exuberates.
It's not just
How does
me.
he turn
It's
it
not
off?
just me. What if it was you?
Mine you can't turn
No,
off.
you can't turn off at all.
It's just a natural,
Yeah.
know.
So what happens then, right? You're the funny guy or the, talented whatever. I don't know. You have all these attributes while you're having sex with somebody and you can't stop yourself from being who you are. What do you do then?
What do you do? What do you do, Sid?
Shh. Double down. Go even more yourself and then do what I said earlier. You have to find out stuff. It's not about you, right? It's the other person as well. So you take whatever you have already, what you know, what you've learned through past experiences and sexual encounters and all those things, and you do what you know, and while that's happening, you start with the, do you like this? Do you like that? And then it has to turn into a dialogue then. That's actually how that works, right? What do you think?
I don't know what I think about this actually. I'm not sure I've got what you're trying
No,
to say.
what I'm saying is you
exactly.
can't stop being yourself.
You can't.
But you just have to be yourself and put that aside. Like don't make
And
it
hope
don't
the
make
other
it about
person
you.
likes that, and if it doesn't, then that thing is not meant to work
But also
out. Is
don't
that
make
what you're saying?
don't make it about you. Ask him or her what they like and try that while being yourself. So you can't turn yourself off. You can't stop being yourself is what I mean.
Yeah,
You have
absolutely.
you have to do what you're doing. You have to do what you want to do also. But don't just make it about you. You have to start asking those questions that we talked about.
Sometimes I don't think you need to ask. Like,
You
you know,
might
you
not need
break
to
the
ask.
flow of things and ask. Sometimes
Yeah.
you just do.
You just do.
You
That
know,
was the other thing we
like
talked
you
about.
just whisper in her ear
Yeah.
or breathe heavily and hope that she likes it. If she doesn't, her body will react. And just
There
to be,
you go, yeah.
Just to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
open to see how the other person's body is reacting. You know, you don't
Yeah.
even need to ask. Like
So-
our bodies tell us.
Again, read the signs.
Yeah.
You have to be perceptive here. So especially if it's the first time, don't try everything that you know. It's not a magic show.
Save it.
Yeah,
One thing at a time.
Well, there's good
Keep her
advice too.
wanting for more. The one trick in this encounter. Then the second trick.
Look at this. It's turning procedural now. But actually you're right. You're right. Absolutely right. Because you can't do everything that you're supposed to do. It's not about just you. So you can do some of the stuff you think will work. Your best educated guess. And then she needs to somehow communicate to you, whether it's verbally or through, you know, what she likes or doesn't like, and then her body reacts to it, or you just listen for it. You might hear
And
it.
start with the slow ones. Keep the kinky ones for much later.
Save it for a later date.
Yes, please. Don't start with some kinky things that you want to try out, you know, and like go with a bang.
Yeah. Well, don't. Unless you know from like upfront,
Unless
she's
you're
told
starring
you.
in 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah. Unless you're starring in 50 Shades of Grey, or she's like, oh, come into my dungeon. Please shackle yourself to that corner.
Have you ever had that?
No, I've never
Would
met
you-
anybody
would
with
you
a
like-
dungeon.
would you like-
We still live in Bombay. I don't think anybody has
Has
owned a
dungeons.
dungeon. Yeah. Although that'd be hilarious. I mean, imagine a sex dungeon
Come
over
into my cowshed.
here. Oh no. The Tabela of Doom. Yeah. But conveniently, this takes us to, well, 4-5 weeks later, and you'll have had sex for a while. And now it's about, okay, you know what you like, she knows what she likes, all the cards are on the table, you figured out what you're comfortable with. How about we look at what we're comfortable with as a couple? So if you like a certain thing, she likes a certain thing, maybe they can be done together.
Yeah, and that
Or-
could be...
Yeah, there could be
That
a
could bring
synergy
you
there.
closer, yeah.
Definitely, because then it becomes a thing that you do together in the bedroom, which
and only
is
with that person.
it's
right?
going to be
Yes.
great. And there's another aspect of turn-ons that I'd like to personally address. Never fall for stuff like, oh, aphrodisiac, so I take this jari booty pill and I'll be like so much stronger and happier and more virile
They have
and
those
happy.
babas on the road.
Yeah, yeah.
ये ले लो बेटा ये ले लो 10 का दो 100 का 3.
A strange Baba just walked into the studio and
Babi.
just knocked Dilnaz off the mic and just took over and sold stuff to me. I bought it also. I can't believe it.
Did it work?
No, it didn't.
Damn.
No, so basically, there is no one sort of cure-all, turn-on pill that you can take. Take the time to really get to know somebody, and everything you want, hopefully, within reason, can come true.
Within reason being the keywords.
Very keyword. Unless you found your like perfect sexual match, then
Yeah, then there's no
wow.
reason.
Like,
Then just let go.
yeah, man. Imagine that. That would be crazy. So I think this is a good time to talk about a set of questions that we usually have. So let's think of it as a frequently asked questions.
Mm-hmm.
So the first question in this topic would be, how do I find my partner's turn on? I mean, we've discussed it at length already, but aside from the usual ask her and try something and watch what she does, maybe you should ask her before any of this begins. I don't know. That sounds like the most reasonable way to start it off. However, I mean, people aren't very forthcoming with some of these
So
things.
you ask her, do you want to explore this? You mean
Yeah,
that? Like
yeah.
a simple question
Simple question
do
beforehand.
you even want to?
I mean, you don't want to break the flow or the mood or any of these things, right?
No, but you don't need to do it while you're at it. You can do it before when
Before,
you're
yeah.
having a cup of chai
Yeah,
or a
yeah.
glass of wine
Cup
or whatever
of chai,
you
man.
have.
Or glass of wine. Come on, that's great. Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
do
I think
that.
glass of wine. No, it's a good idea. Ask her at that time.
Yeah, like find out from in advance if this is something you guys should try. Who knows? I mean, what's the worst that can happen? She'll just be like, "Oh, you're weird. We don't want to do this right now." yeah, save it for another day then. So that's one thing. The other thing that you should think about when you're trying to find out what your partner's turn-ons might be is basically, have you met this person before? Of course you have. Figure some things out. In fact, don't you have something about this a little bit?
Yeah, actually, there's something about, you mean the turn-ons and the personality types thing, right?
Like
yeah,
there's
actually,
certain people's personalities
who
correspond
make
to
them
certain
have
things.
certain fetishes.
Yeah.
Like, there's one fetish called the adult babies fetish, you know, in which people dress as children. So they wear diapers, they suck on a lollipop. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, they...
I know what lollipops are.
and they, you know, talk in a baby voice and all of that, you know, and that's actually a sexual fantasy. So it seems the personality type, the individuals who are being the babies, are the ones who love attention, who want love, who want nurturing. And their partner who does it is the nurturer. They are people who like giving, who like nurturing. So it's two people who complement each other, you know. So that is a sexual fetish that can be developed. And then there's another fetish called water sports.
Oh, yeah.
Which is supposed to be quite common.
Yeah.
Urolagnia is what it is. The act of urination and feel or smell of urine turns certain people on.
Yeah.
And it seems the personality type it describes
Yeah.
is people who want to let go, who want liberation, you know, because as children, you know, you're taught that, okay, now you can't pee in your diaper, you have to go to the loo, you have to learn how to use the loo, you can't pee in your pants, you're scolded by teachers and parents, and, you know, there are all these can'ts. So the act of this urolagnia, however you pronounce it, is an act of, you know, repression which was in childhood, letting go, and of feeling loved, strangely, and watching another helpless person, right? You're watching someone else urinate and that turns you on, but it's the feeling of, oh, that person's equally helpless as me. So those are the personality. It was quite interesting, this article that I read. Like it describes your
These
personality.
things are sort of very specific, kind of extreme personality measures. I don't think this applies to a lot of people, but...
Or like even spanking, right?
Yeah, spanking. Actually, all these things, they might seem extreme right now, and maybe some people are into it. You shouldn't try it off the bat, obviously. But sometimes people need to be asked. Like, everybody does not want to tell you what their fantasy is right away. Somehow you have to figure it out. And that doesn't mean you ask a million idiotic questions. This is what we mean. You kind of have to put two and two together here. Maybe broach the topic beforehand. Maybe do it while in the bedroom. It really depends. So, yeah, you need to have a large array of ways to find out what your partner could like. And that means you have to be perceptive, read all these signals that we've talked about before, ask the questions, try the things based on what they are, who they are and what you know of them, and see where that takes you.
It could not take you. I mean,
Yeah,
it can work
there's-
either way, but there's no harm in discovering it. There's no harm in trying it.
No harm in trying it, yeah.
And it doesn't mean you have to. I mean, there's no need, there's no pressure.
No pressure.
No.
No pressure. You don't have to drop your pants and pee on somebody. It's not something you have to do. Please ask before you do something like that.
Can you imagine if you're not asked without
And
warning?
they say that they heard it on our show. No, please
You'll
ask
get
before
like hate mails, you know.
please ask before you pee. Okay, second question. How do I turn any man or woman on in bed?
Well, tricks up your sleeve.
Oh, this is something that I have seen. This is the thing with advice on the internet with sex, which I have a personal problem with. We were searching this particular topic, and all that came up were lists, bullet points, sort of like, if you try this, she will go wild. Whoever she is, even if she doesn't like this at all, you try it and it'll work. That's just not how these things work. These things are deeply, deeply personal. And the whole point is they get even better when you figure out what those things are. You do not have a single sort of solution to make this work.
Yeah, there's no global do
Yeah.
this and this will happen.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I mean, at the end of the day, what are we talking about? Why are these fantasy things important? They physically make sex better because everyone is more excited. The body functions are better for all of these things because everyone's more aroused. Arousal is the key. That's why people hammer down on foreplay so much in these sex advice columns because it's so important that the person you're having sex with is fully aroused. That's how you get the most out of it.
Yeah, but some things are nonsense.
Yeah.
Like, remember you were telling us about those oysters. I mean,
Yeah.
come on, globally everybody says oysters and aphrodisiac.
No,
but
come on. They're not. And that's what I mean. Not everybody is going to react the same way. There's no one single solution. So don't do that. Don't look for a quick way out. If you are having a one-night stand or something, let me just say, those almost never end up in good sex. They're called one-night stands for a reason. Not just because of how you got to that point, but because that's where it ends. So if you want to have a meaningful discussion about sex with somebody you trust and then try that with them later, it's only going to be good for you. So I
so
think...
you want to repeat those two questions again?
Yeah, the two questions. Okay. How do I find my partner's turn-ons? And how do I turn on any man or woman? So,
Super.
yeah, just go over this again. It might help you in the future.
And with that, should we...
Yeah, let's take a break.
Hey friend, so if you're listening to a podcast right now, you're probably some kind of a nerd. A nerd at heart, at least. So maybe, just maybe, you might like another podcast about nerds, by nerds, and for nerds.
It's called Geek Fruit, a community to unite estranged geeks from across India and later on the world. We talk about television, movies, science fiction, adventure, fantasy, etc. Anything nerdy, it's all here on Geek Fruit.
We've got episodes coming out every Tuesday and Thursday, and you can check us out on iTunes, Audioboom, Stitcher, or any of your favorite podcast apps. Like my favorite podcast app, the IVM podcast app. Give me my money, IVM.
Good plug.
Happy listening, you nerds.
Welcome back.
To X and Y, and today's topic is turn-ons.
Turn-ons. I think we've discussed, everything about turn-ons, its specific interpersonal relationships, how it can help you, why you need to know all of this. However, let's talk about something that's not so deep, a rather ridiculous sex story. And
Ooh, I love sex stories.
yeah. So this is our sex story for the episode. This comes from Russia. Mm-hmm. This is from
already
a while.
sounding interesting.
They are everybody's insane, but the Russians are a special kind of insane.
How racist and my God, Sid, I never knew this aspect of you.
I'm going to read the story, okay, and then
Okay.
and then you tell me later.
Okay,
It's an old story, but it's one that I find hilarious. Okay, so this happened in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to read it out. A Russian man who tried to rob a hair salon ended up as the victim when the female shop owner overpowered him, tied him up naked, and then used him as a sex slave for 3 days. That is the gist of it.
Wow.
Okay,
Wow.
now details.
Yes, please.
Viktor Jasinski, age 32, admitted to police that he had gone to the salon in Meschovsk, Russia, with the intention of robbing it. But the tables were turned dramatically when he found himself overcome by owner Olga Zajach. I hope I'm saying it right, 28 years old, who happened to be a black belt in karate.
Ooh.
She allegedly floored him with a single kick. Then, in a scene reminiscent of Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction, police say Zajak dragged the semi-conscious Jasinski to the back room of the salon and tied him up with a hairdryer cable. She allegedly stripped him naked and for the next 3 days used him as a sex slave to, in quotes, teach him a lesson.
No kidding.
For force-feeding him Viagra to keep the lesson going. The would-be robber was eventually released, with Zajak saying he had learned his lesson. That's it. That's the lady, by the way, saying he learned his lesson, so I'm letting him go. Jasinski went straight to the police and told them of his backroom ordeal, saying that he had been held hostage, handcuffed naked to a radiator, and fed nothing but Viagra. Both have now been arrested.
Good, serves him right.
When police arrived to question Zajic, she said, what a expletive. Yes, we had sex a couple of times, but I brought him new jeans, gave him food, and gave him 1,000 rubles when he left. Wow. Thank you, Daily Mail, for providing us with this. I don't say thank you, Daily Mail, very often, but yeah, the UK newspaper Daily Mail is where I read this from. This is the thing, right? We need to be a little more compassionate to every kind of story that comes through the doors, you know. Some people look like they're in the wrong, but hey, nobody deserves to be taken advantage of. She could have knocked him out and called the cops,
Yeah,
or tied him up to the radiator, and man, she'd
No,
be
it
a
is
hero.
rape to an extent.
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
just that, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's still kind of ridiculous. I love the fact that they said in a scene reminiscent of Quentin Tarantino's
Tarantino.
Pulp Fiction. Just wow. Just wow.
She was
Like,
really influenced.
yeah, I mean, she just knocked him out and then did all this. And I love the ending as well. And when she curses him out and says, yes, we had sex a couple of times, but I bought him new jeans. Like, that's a thing. Like, yeah,
then,
I know.
then it's maaf. Chalo.
Yeah, that's how
Naye kapde khareed liye na maine.
and 1,000 rubles, and I gave him food. Like, okay, so I know you came to rob me, but I kicked you out and tied you up and forced you to have sex with me, but here's a back present. Like, thank you for coming to my salon to rob me.
What a story.
Like, jeans are gonna fix everything, okay? I'll buy you
Maybe in
jeans.
Russia they do, okay?
See, now who's being racist? Huh? Yeah, that's what I thought. That is what I thought.
Okay.
But yeah, that's our crazy sex story for the day.
Great. Now I've got something for you.
Okay, what is it?
Okay, now
Should I
since,
be
we
afraid?
are trying... No, it's lots of fun.
Okay.
And, we've got... I'm trying to know you. People who are hearing this podcast are trying to hear you and all.
Why are they trying to hear me?
Listen, we want to, okay?
Okay.
So I've got a rapid fire round for Sid.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to list these turn-ons and you have to say on, off.
Okay, but then you also have to say on off.
No, yeah, that's later.
Oh, no.
That's later.
No.
Have you prepared a rapid fire for me? You haven't.
I haven't.
Then
you
I've
should. It should be
prepared
easy
for
for you. You know the questions
Achha,
also.
take lenge. Let's do your
okay.
rapid fire
Achha,
first. Okay?
okay.
I'm the one who brought it up.
Let's go. Chalo.
Okay. You just have to say on, off.
Okay.
Okay. Fat woman.
Off.
Someone with a cold and a flu.
On.
Okay.
Go with it.
Woman on a period.
Off.
Pregnancy.
Off.
A fart which has happened by mistake.
How can you have sex with that?
Okay. Mouth smells of onion or garlic.
Oh, off.
Super horny chick.
On.
Super shy chick.
On.
Handcuffs, blindfolds.
Yep.
Talking in a baby voice.
No.
Keeps giggling.
No.
No means off.
Off.
You have to say
Yeah.
on or off.
Off.
Sexy lingerie.
On.
Humongous boobs.
Off.
No underwear.
On.
Thong.
On.
Size 0.
Off.
Granny panties.
Actually, I go with on.
Size 0.
Yeah.
On.
Yeah.
Granny panties.
On.
She-male.
Off.
If she screams her ex-boyfriend's name.
On. I don't know how that turns me off. Yeah.
Some trait that your ex-girlfriend had and she has it.
That could be anything, right? On. Yeah.
Who doesn't want to use a condom?
On.
Dressed in a school uniform.
Off.
Slutty nurse.
On.
Sexy school teacher.
On.
Leather boots and whips.
On.
Whispering sweet nothings in your ear.
That's a given, right? On.
Okay. That was Sid's rapid fire round. No, you get no hamper. Stop
yeah.
looking around.
Where
with
are
a
my jeans?
gift.
Where
you
are
don't
my
get
jeans?
1,000 rubles.
I need 1,000 rubles
You don't
and
get
my
a
jeans.
coffee hamper. You don't get jeans.
How can I
Sorry.
not get a coffee hamper out of you got like slutty nurse out of me. And what is the other one? Like, I don't even remember some of this stuff.
Sexy school. Don't worry, I'll give you this list.
Okay, yeah, with the
And,
marking. Do I get a score or what?
Yeah, and they've marked, your ons and offs. So
Yeah, great.
we can put it in the section right at the end. These are Sid's ons and offs, in case
Great.
anyone's interested. With
Good
your
stuff.
picture in jeans.
in jeans that have been given to me, right? So give me the jeans now. What is this?
Anyway,
Amazing.
it was a fun episode.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and this is the should we end it?
I think we should end it here,
I think we should.
and we'll be back
Very soon.
with another amazing episode. Join us then.
Till then, bye.
You can find X and Y on iTunes, Audioboom, YouTube, Stitcher, or any podcasting app that you like. If you're trying to find us on iTunes India, you might have some trouble finding us because of the language used on the show. So make sure you change your location before finding us on iTunes.
Hey man, just help me out, man. I need some podcast, man. I haven't had a fix in a week. Just need some.
Don't you worry about it. I got podcast galore for you, man. Just go to ivmpodcast.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Thanks, man. I'm gonna check it out.